Hi everyone, thank you for joining us today. My name is Oksana and this is Education USA for Europe and Central Asia. Our advising services are fully virtual now, so we provide individual and group advising sessions, undergraduate and graduate application guidance, essay reviews, support, virtual workshops and webinars for you, of course, to help you to get your education in the United States. So today I'm glad to introduce you our new topic and we'll talk about how to build a winning undergraduate application. You all know that US universities evaluate far more than your GPA. They want to understand who you are, what drives you, and what you will bring to campus. Today, Kaycee from Kennesaw University will explain how holistic admissions works in practice and which parts of your application carry the most weight, from personal essay and some activities to recommendation letters and demonstrated interest. Thank you, Kaycee, for joining us today. If you have any questions during the webinar, please leave them in the chat and we will be able to answer them during the session.
Hi everyone, my name is Kaycee. I'm one of the international admissions counselors at Kennesaw State University, and today I'll be discussing with you the general admissions process for an undergraduate admissions for universities in the United States. Please keep in mind that these are it's a general overview, so if you want specific information requirements, please look at the specific institution's websites for their specific requirements. So here in today's session, we will cover the following topics: how to build a strong student profile, how to strengthen your application, the types of universities in the US, the general admissions process for those universities, application materials, timelines, and deadlines, a quick overview of the visa process, tips for success, and then we will open it up for Q&A questions at the end. So for the how to strengthen your application, prioritize academics. This is an extremely important part of the admissions process. So maintaining strong grades in rigorous courses like AP, IB, or honors classes helps set students apart in the application process. Getting involved, joining clubs or outside organizations adds to your application and shows that you are active outside of just the classroom. Showing leadership opportunities. Take initiative in your organizations by taking on leadership positions such as officer roles, leading projects, or peer mentoring. Being consistent. Colleges look at how long you are in an organization long-term. Long-term commitment to your activity shows dedication. Better to be a part of a few outside organizations that you excel in and have been an active member for a year or so, other than being a part in multiple organizations that you're only a part of for a few months. And lastly, volunteering. Community service demonstrates empathy and impact and shows that you like being involved in your community. So these are some ways that you can strengthen your application for the admissions process. So for how to stand out in the application process, crafting a compelling personal story. Be authentic and reflect on your personal experiences and or achievements. Universities want to know about you. They do not want to know about what ChatGPT or other general AI knows. So make sure your story reflects who you are as an individual. Secure strong recommendations. Choose teachers and mentors who know you well and can speak on your behalf about your character, achievements, etc. And then highlighting achievements. Make sure to add about academic, extracurricular, and personal milestones that set you apart. And then start early and stay organized. Make sure you are staying on top of deadlines and checking your student status regularly for any updates or changes to your admissions process. Universities are looking for well-rounded students with academic ability, plus personal impact and future potential that will thrive in their institution. So now that we've talked about how to build a strong profile and how to set yourself apart from the application process, we'll talk about the different kinds of institutions in the US. So there is community colleges. These are two-year institutions where students can obtain their associate's degrees. Community colleges have lower tuition rates compared to four-year institutions, and there are multiple pathways for you to transfer to a four-year institution from a two-year institution. There are public universities. These are state-funded and typically have larger campuses. They offer a broad range of programs for students and have lower in-state tuition rates. And then you have your private universities. These are privately funded. They have smaller class sizes and often higher tuition rates. And then lastly, technical colleges. These are more career focused. They offer certifications and hands-on training for students. So keep this in mind when you're researching and looking for institutions. What you really want ultimately is going to determine which institution you will excel at. So now we'll talk about the general admissions for a technical college. General admissions for a community college include, but not limited to, the following. You must first complete the online application. Most community colleges have low or no application fees. So then you will submit your official high school transcript and evaluation reports with your GPA included. Standardized tests such as the SAT or ACT may be required. And then you'll also need to submit proof of English proficiency if you are from a non-English speaking country. And then placement tests may require placement tests. This can be examples such as AccuPlacer. This is a placement test to see where your math, reading, and writing skills are. And then once you have submitted your documents, you will need to check your application status through your student account regularly for any updates. And you'll receive an admissions decision. If you are accepted, then you will confirm your enrollment. And for this admissions for community colleges, I did provide a option for you guys. Please let me know if you can see the website. If not, can you see the website? I don't think you can see the website, but the website is for a Georgia Highlands College. This is a college in the United States, specifically in Georgia. They do community college, so they offer two-year institutions. On their website, you can see their specific requirements for a international student. So next, you have the admissions process for a technical college. So again, you'll complete the online application and pay the application fee. Typically, it is a low fee for the technical colleges. You'll then submit your official high school transcripts and evaluation report with the GPA. Most technical colleges require students to complete a placement test for English and math, such as AccuPlacer and or the Compass test. English proficiency requirement if required. And then once you submitted your documents, you will need to check your application status through your student account regularly for any updates. And then you'll receive a decision. You'll confirm that decision. And then for this example, I provided a technical college within the state of Georgia, which is Gwinnett Technical College. When you click on the link, you can see their specific requirements for their university for international students. And then for a admissions process for a private institution, you'll complete your application fee online again. Application fees may vary. They are typically higher for a private institution. You'll submit your official transcript and evaluation report with your GPA. English proficiency requirements are required, again, if you're from a non-English speaking country. You'll submit your SAT or ACT test scores, submit letter of recommendations if required. And then once you have submitted your documents, you will need to check your application status through your student account regularly for any updates, and then you will receive a decision based on your application. And for the private institution that I put as an example, I put Emory University, which is a private institution in the state of Georgia. So you can see their admissions requirements on their website as well. And then for admissions for a public institution, I put the admissions process for completing applications. So you'll complete the online application fee. Fees will vary depending on the institution. You'll submit official transcripts and then again the evaluation report with your GPA. You'll submit your SAT or ACT test scores. English proficiency is required. Letter of recommendations, personal essays. And then once you have submitted your documents, you will need to check your student status for any updates, and then once they made a decision, you'll get an admissions decision, and then you can click or to confirm your enrollment if you've been accepted. And then for a public institution, I put Kennesaw State University as an example. So for Kennesaw specific, for our admissions process, you will apply through the Common App. Complete the application with much detail as possible, including your personal information, academic history, extracurricular activities, and any leadership or special projects you have participated in. The more specifics you provide, the better we can understand your accomplishments. And then you'll submit your official high school transcripts. Submit transcripts from all high schools you have attended. These should reflect your complete academic record, including courses taken and the grades you've earned. And then we would require an official evaluation of your high school transcript so that we can interpret your grades using the US grading scale. This helps ensure that your academic performance is accurately assessed in the context of US admission standards. A minimum GPA requirement for admissions into KSU is a 2.5 high school GPA. And then official SAT or ACT test scores. You'll submit your official standardized test scores. For many international students, these scores can also satisfy English proficiency requirements, eliminating the need for a separate English exam. For the SAT test scores, requirements are a 500 in evidence-based reading and writing and a 490 in math. For the math, for the ACT, it is a 18, and for the English and reading, it is a 18 as well. So by providing all of these documents and materials, KSU can thoroughly review your academic preparation and make a fair and informed admissions decision. For KSU specifically, and not every institution, for Kennesaw, we do not require letters of recommendations for the general application process, but other institutions may require that. So just look at the specific institution you are wanting to attend to make sure that you're following their right admissions process. So for timelines and deadlines, each university has different application and document deadlines. So be sure to check their specific website to ensure you are meeting the deadlines on time. The different types of decisions. So we have early decision. This is a binding decision, which means you must commit to that institution. It typically happens at the beginning of November. Types of schools that have early decision would be the University of Georgia and the Georgia Institute of Technology. Early action is a non-binding decision. This means students are not required to commit to the institution, but is highly encouraged to apply earlier. An example of an institution that has early action would be Georgia State University. Regular decisions are non-binding as well, and they typically happen from January through February. This is for schools that require an intent to enroll by May 1st. And then lastly, there is rolling admissions. This is again non-binding, and schools review and decide on applications continuously as they are received rather than waiting for a fixed deadline. So Kennesaw State University is on a rolling decision or rolling admissions, which means that we review applications as they come in. We do not hold decisions until a fixed deadline. So here are the deadlines to submit an application and documents to Kennesaw. To be considered for summer 26, the deadline is coming up in 2 weeks, in 2 weeks for May 1st. And then to be considered for fall 2026, the deadline is July 1st. And then our applications for spring 27 are open now. And the deadline to apply is November 16th. And all documents such as your transcripts, evaluations, test scores are due by December 1st. And then this is the visa process. If you're not aware, this is a general overview of how to apply for an F1 visa. So find your nearest US embassy or consulate by going to this website right here. And then by looking at their web pages, phoning or visiting, find out exactly what your embassy requires for you to get your visa and how to schedule an appointment. And then scheduling an appointment with your local embassy. Many embassies will allow you to schedule an interview time online. So be sure to check for that option. And then you'll pay your CVIS fee associated with your visa at this website right here. And then you must also have your receipt. So make sure to keep your receipt. And then for more information, contact the International Student and Scholar Services at that institution for any information regarding the visa process. And then here, I wanted to show you guys a video about the institution at KSU. However, the audio is not working, so I will drop it in the chat for you guys to have. You can see it on YouTube. It's about a minute long, but it gives you a good overview about the institution at KSU. So now that I've talked a little bit about the general admissions for some institutions in the US, here are some quick facts about KSU and what makes our institution unique. So KSU is the third largest public institution in the state of Georgia with over 50,000 students currently enrolled. This includes all student types, freshman, international, transfer, etc. We are also incredibly diverse campus, having approximately 700 plus international students representing 127 different countries. So I know that sounds like a lot of students on campus. However, KSU has a 23 to 1 student to faculty ratio, which means your class sizes will be fairly small. This allows you to have more one-on-one time with your professors. You will notice each year your class sizes get smaller as you enter into your selected majors. If you like being involved or are interested in getting involved, KSU has more than 300 student organizations, including sororities, fraternities, recreational clubs, international clubs for you to join and meet students who share the same interests. And then KSU also has 18 NCAA Division I sports teams, such as baseball, basketball, football, and women's soccer. KSU offers over 190 degree and certificate programs for students and 11 academic colleges, so there is a major for any student interest, our top majors being nursing, psychology, biology, and engineering. My favorite fun fact is that we have the best dining hall in our best dining hall. Our dining hall is ranked number 12 out of 1,361 for best college food in America. A cool thing is that we have a dining station that celebrates international cuisines and cultural foods because we understand that some cultures from around the world have different dietary restrictions or preferences. It is also a great way for students to try other cultures' cuisines from around the world. So now let's talk about some of the benefits of our location. We do have two main campuses located in the Northwest Atlanta metro area. Our Kennesaw campus and Marietta campus are both located in Cobb County. Both campuses are only about 20 minutes apart, and many students travel back and forth between both campuses for their classes. Students are able to utilize our Big Owl bus called the Bob to take them to and from both campuses, KSU sporting events, and the Town Center Mall. We're also about 35 minutes from downtown Atlanta, which is home to Fortune 500 companies, where a lot of our students go to do co-ops, internships, and job shadowing opportunities so they can get that hands-on experience they need before earning their degrees. We're also about 45 minutes away from Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport. This is the world's largest and busiest airport. And if you like sports and music like me, you will get to enjoy going to sporting events, concerts, and music festivals as a KSU student due to our close proximity to sports and entertainment venues like Truist Park, which is home to our Atlanta Braves baseball team. So as you can see, our location allows you to go out, have fun, and use your major to your advantage. So for the Kennesaw campus, our Kennesaw campus is home to our Bagwell College of Education. This houses elementary, middle, and secondary education programs. Our Coles College of Business houses accounting, finance, marketing, and management. And the business school, it has international accreditation, so your degree is recognized globally. Our College of Humanities and Social Sciences houses psychology, political science, foreign languages, international affairs, anthropology, communication. And then our College of Science and Math houses our life sciences. And then our College of the Arts houses art, music, theater, dance, animation. And then lastly, our Wellstar College of Health and Human Services houses our nursing program, exercise science, public health, and sports management. So if your major falls under one of these colleges, you'll likely spend most of your time on our Kennesaw campus. Next is our Marietta campus, home to many of our STEM majors. Our College of Architecture and Construction Management. Architecture is an accelerated 5-year program. Compared to most institutions, it takes 6 years to complete your architecture degree. Our College of Computing and Software Engineering houses computer science, information technology, computer game design and development. And then starting fall 2026, we are getting a new Bachelor's of Science in Artificial Intelligence program. Our Southern Polytechnic College of Engineering and Engineering Technology houses mechanical, civil, electrical, industrial. And then we also just got an aerospace engineering program last year. And then again, our College of Science and Math is housed here as well. So if your major is engineering, computing, architecture, or certain STEM majors, you'll be on the Marietta campus for your major specific courses. So here is a short list of some of our online programs that KSU offers at the undergraduate and graduate level. So you can see the full list of programs on our website. Some of the programs include Bachelor's of Cybersecurity, Management, Marketing, Information Technology, Software Engineering. So if you're not able to attend college in person, we do offer some fully online programs that you can complete from your home country. For online tuition and fees for an undergraduate student who's taking 12 credit hours, which is roughly 4 classes, if the classes are 3 credits each, tuition would be roughly 2,620 plus their standard fees of 340, which is about 2,960 for one semester at KSU as a fully online student. So here you can see the rough estimate for cost of attendance for an in-state versus an international student. Also, this is before any types of scholarships are applied. So this is tuition and fees for any in-person student. For in-state students, the rough estimate of the cost of attendance for one semester at KSU is roughly 2,904. For an international student, on the F1 visa, your rough estimate for one semester at KSU is roughly 9,276, and you can see the breakdown here. Tuition and fees for 1 year would be roughly 18,000. Living expenses is roughly 14,000. Miscellaneous includes things like books, materials, anything that you'd need would be roughly 7,300, and for a total of 39,000 for a year at KSU. So for scholarships, I wanted to talk to you about some of our scholarships. We do offer Scholarship Universe. Scholarship Universe provides a customized list of scholarships whose eligibility requirements you meet, saving you time and effort. KSU scholarships open between November 1st and March 1st for students to apply for. We also do offer an F1 tuition waiver for international students on the F1 visa status. The waiver is not guaranteed, but if granted the waiver, it will convert your international tuition to in-state requirement or in-state tuition, and you can see the requirements on our website as well. The tuition waiver or the tuition application is now open for summer and fall 26 for any student to apply once they've been accepted. I bring this up because if you are awarded the tuition waiver, instead of the 9,000 for international tuition, you'd be paying in-state tuition, which is roughly 3,000. So it's a huge decrease in tuition if you are awarded the tuition waiver. And you can also add scholarships along with your tuition waiver as well to bring the total cost down. We also do offer a KSU Journey Honors College. It is a program for high-achieving, motivated students at Kennesaw State University that offers a specialized curriculum, including honors courses, seminars, and undergraduate research opportunities. It provides benefits such as priority registration, specialized advising, scholarships, opportunities, and access to exclusive lounges on campus. The college also supports students through various opportunities like our study abroad and elite cohort programs, and serves students in all undergraduate majors. Students apply through the Common App as first-year students, can also use the internal Honors College application as well, and their requirements are on their website. And now our Double OWL Pathway program is a great opportunity for you to earn your bachelor's and master's degree faster than doing them separately. It saves you time and tuition. If you're interested in pursuing this program, please ensure to have this conversation with your academic advisor after you've been accepted to discuss course registration. So this is a great opportunity if you know you want to get a master's degree. You can start earning master's level credit during your undergraduate courses as well. And finally, some tips for success that I want to leave you with is to apply early, submit required documents, maintain a strong GPA and test early, follow up on listing items and check your status regularly, ask questions often, and schedule a meeting with admissions counselors for any questions that you may have. And then lastly, some common mistakes that I see students do is reaching out last minute or not reaching out at all if they have any questions, not knowing the deadlines, not proofreading an essay, and then making assumptions about institutions. And lastly, we can go over questions here now, and then I will put our contact information on the next page. Here is the contact information for myself and my colleague and our assistant director. So if you have any questions about the undergraduate admissions programs, please let me know, but I'm open to any questions that you may have for me.
Thank you so much, Kaycee, for this presentation. It was pretty useful, and I think it covered general questions from our students. we'll have some time for your questions, dear participants. So if you have any urgent questions about the application process, please write down them in the chat. However, we also have some questions from the students who submitted them in advance. So if you don't mind, we will start this stage of answering the questions. And the first one I can see in the chat is already. So how do admissions officers distinguish between genuine stories and one that feel constructed for impact? This is a good question, I think.
I'm sorry, you broke up a little bit. Can you repeat the question?
Sure. How do admissions officers distinguish between genuine stories and ones that feel constructed or for impact?
So I feel like it's on a case by case student, but typically sometimes admissions officers will potentially plug the essay into generative AI to see if anything pops up, if it feels like it may be not genuine, or but typically um, admissions officers can tell because the details in the essay are very unique to that student specifically. So just making sure that you're unique about your specific um, upbringing or anything specific about you, we can typically tell when it's a genuine story and if it feels constructed.
Thank you so much. So I think I will just show these questions on the screen as well, so it will be easier for you to see them. So the next one is about English proficiency, of course. We usually have these questions like this. So about the English proficiency certificate, which one is available to more institutions, TOEFL or IELTS?
So most institutions take either one, TOEFL or IELTS, whichever one is available to you. I typically do see most students leaning towards TOEFL, but I've seen both.
Thank you so much. Next question is about SAT score. Is that SAT score actually compensate the low GPA, or is a low GPA something you can't fix?
So I get this question quite a lot. Um, it's again a case by case, but typically GPA is a very important factor for students, especially for admissions. Our GPA requirement for a high school student for their high school GPA is a 2.5. If your SAT scores are high and your GPA is, let's say, below a 2.5, maybe like borderline 2.4, you may be right there. Sometimes we can make an exception, but typically if it's lower than the minimum requirement, sometimes institutions, they may ask you to attend another institution and then transfer. So there is other options for you.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much for this comment. Next question is also about personal statement. Um, So does it need to be more on the emotional side of writing or on the specific type?
So typically, institutions will have a prompt of what they would like for your essay to be. I have seen essays of students, for example, our tuition waiver, we do have an essay that students need to write for the tuition waiver. For the tuition waiver, the prompt is that we would like to see why you chose Kennesaw as an institution to do your academics at. So we want to know what drove you to come to KSU. How does the tuition waiver aid in you being able to get your academics here? So just a genuine um, response about why you chose that specific institution and what the institution can provide for you and what you can provide for that institution. But they typically, institutions have a prompt that you can follow.
Thank you so much. So I think next question is also related to GPA and extracurricular activities. So what play a huge role in application, extra activities or GPA?
I think both of them are great. However, GPA is probably more important just because you are there for an institution for academics. So they want to make sure that you're going to excel in the academic profile at that institution. But extracurriculars does help showing a well-rounded student. So while you're doing school, you're also doing other organizations, doing extracurricular activities. So being able to manage both of them, but ultimately, your academics are important.
That's great. Thank you so much. Next one, I think, is also related to English proficiency. However, we discussed like this kind of questions before, dear students, but let's just make a quick note. So if we take the SAT, we don't have to take an English proficiency test. Is it correct or not?
Correct. If you take the SAT and score a 500, which is the requirement for Kennesaw, um, you score 500 in the evidence-based reading and writing section, that will satisfy the English proficiency requirement.
Okay, so it might be like a bonus for you students
Yes.
if you apply to this university. That's great, wonderful. So next question, I will just put it in on the screen as well. So is it possible to apply as a freshman if you have already enrolled to other university that you plan to quit?
So you can apply. We will still need the documents from your previous institution. So because you have college credit, we will require both your high school documents and your college transcript as well.
So it means that they apply still as a freshman or like they transferred, they will be transferred students?
It depends on how many credits they have. So for
Mhm.
Kennesaw, if they have 20 or 30 credit hours, they would be considered a transfer. If they have less than that, we consider them a transfer freshman. So they still meet the requirements of a freshman student as well as bringing or as well as submitting their college transcript.
Okay, that's clear. Thank you so much. So is it true that GPA international students cannot be evaluated in the same way as the USA GPA? Because every country has different grade requirements, so there is no equivalent.
So that is why we have the students do an evaluation report because those evaluation companies, they know the equivalencies between those countries' GPA and the US equivalency. So they're going to convert those GPAs to make sure that it accurately reflects the US equivalency as well. So that's why we highly recommend that they get an evaluation so that they can see the equivalency of a US education.
Great, thank you so much. I think we have a couple more questions about GPA and SAT scores, so we will cover them and then we will come back to the question about the application. Since we're talking about how to build a winning undergrad application, so we will cover some questions as well. So the question is about GPA again. So how important is explaining the reason for a low GPA in application and what makes that explanation credible versus just an excuse?
I think, again, on a case by case, institutions will look at the reason for a low GPA. If the student is continuously not doing well in their academics semester after semester, there may be an underlying problem. Sometimes it could be personal, a death in the family, they're going through something, explaining the situation. Um, but ultimately, taking up for their actions. School does come first, things happen. So being sure to explain what happened to your GPA, institutions will look at that.
So it's better to provide this explanation,
Yes.
even though than do not provide it. Yeah, thank you so much. So yeah, and finally we will move to the questions about the application. So dear students, if you have questions about how to build a winning undergraduate application, so we're talking today about undergraduate application. Please pay attention. We'll talk about graduate application a bit later. And the question is about what are the most common non-obvious mistakes that international students and applicants make.
What's the most common non-obvious mistake international applicants make? Oh, hmm. I
So you mentioned already about deadlines, yeah, like apply
yes.
at the
So
last moment.
some mistakes is a lot of students believe most institutions are their requirements are the same. They're not. That's why the presentation I put is very a general overview. So they have to look at their specific institution about the requirements that are needed, not making the deadlines. So each institution has different deadlines. Making sure that they're staying on top of it, making sure they know the difference between an application deadline and a document deadline. So some institutions make one deadline and some have separate. So an application is submitting the application through Common App. So having the application submitted to the institution, a document deadline is a separate deadline potentially where the student needs to submit their transcript, their test scores. So knowing those different deadlines, as well as making sure they're staying on top and are well organized. But those are some of the common mistakes. Not proofreading their application as well, not having someone proofread it. I've had students put a different name on their application. So I've seen that. So just making sure that they're proofreading their application and that it's accurate, because they do sign off on the application that the information they provided is accurate to their knowledge.
That's great. So, of course, this is number one, like deadlines, yeah. So we can assume, and also make sure that you pay attention to details and read everything carefully. Thank you so much. So, next question is about activities. What if my additional activities are diverse and not exactly related to the? We have like question about master degree, but we can talk about also bachelor's degree. How will the administration, like application committee, do this?
So if you have activities that are diverse and not exactly related to your specific degree, that's fine, because they can look at other things such as soft skills. If you're in leadership positions in those additional activities, they'll look to see if you've held a leadership position, if you've done extra activities within that additional activity. So there's other ways that the activity doesn't have to specifically relate to your degree, but there are certain key things that they may look at, as in soft skills, communication, like communications, are you well organized, things like that you've learned in the organization that you can apply.
That's great. Thank you so much. Next question is about international summer camps or schools like this. So, are these activities important for application, or it's not necessary?
It may be for some institutions, they may require international summer camps or schools. So that's why it's important to look at the specific institution. For Kennesaw specifically, we don't look at international summer camps or schools as part of the admissions process, but some institutions may.
Okay, that's great. Thank you so much. Were there situations where you had to check up the authenticity of, I assume this is like extracurricular activities or essay, and how did you do that?
I think if the essay is not genuine or does not reflect who you are as a student, institutions are going to run the essay through an AI generative, just to make sure that it's not using AI. And once you get into college, professors do, if you submit an essay to professors, they will make sure that it's not using AI as well. So they run those essays through scanners to make sure that it's authentic. I think in situations where it feels ingenuine, we've had to look at essays to make sure that it is a genuine essay for the student. But it's hard to say, because there are certain things that each institution is looking for. So just making sure that you're following the prompt and you're correctly demonstrating your personal experiences and no one else's is important in an essay.
Yeah, that's great. I also agree with you, and I would recommend our students do not cheat, maybe, and do not waste your time on looking for some options how to cheat and so on, because you can spend this time on preparation and writing your good essay, proofread it, and like check it again several times, while you just like waste time and look for some options how you can cheat and tell or see if the university will be able to check is your story true or not, and so on. Thank you so much. So next question is about also like application and the extracurricular activities. Does it make a difference if you show your interest in the university, such as attending summer courses or workshops before applying? Because I know that some universities, they provide some kind of summer academies for students, like future applicants. So is it a good idea to attend such courses, workshops, and so on?
So it depends on the institution. If the institution offers summer courses or workshops that you are wanting to attend, I think that's a great way for you to kind of see how the institution, how some of the courses will be, gives you a good idea of what to expect. And then I think that would be a great opportunity for you to get to know a little bit about the university. So it just depends on if the institution offers those summer camps. But any experience, getting an idea of what the university is going to be like is a good idea.
Yeah, first of all, because you develop your skills, yeah, like, and you learn something new, you grow as a professional. So it's always a good idea to attend something additionally, even though if you're not going to apply to this university in future, but still you use this opportunity and you learn something new. Thank you so much. And the next question is about what if my school does not offer IB or AP? What to do to raise my chance in admissions? Or will it be okay if I just take, we just take SAT and GPA, provide these results?
So if your school doesn't offer IB or AP, they must offer some type of honors course. And this is a rigorous course, but also having a strong SAT will also aid in your admission process as well. So if your school doesn't offer an IB or AP, I think a strong SAT score will also help with the admissions process.
Okay, yeah. So I think we discussed it during our previous webinar, dear students. If you missed it, you can watch the recording. So yeah, so not all schools provide this IP or a IB or AP opportunity. So that's completely fine if you don't have it when you apply. One more question from the comments. Can self-created opportunities be as strong as prestigious programs or competitions? So maybe we need to clarify this question a bit because I don't clear understand what you mean by self-created opportunities. But maybe we could just talk about the um, programs and competitions on different levels. For example, many students participate in competitions on the school level or regional level or country level. So how do you think, is it a good idea to provide all the results, like I mean from school to country level, or you would focus on some specific levels?
Yeah. So I think adding your competitions or prestigious exams, test scores, things like that will also help aid in your admissions process because it shows that you have competed in the high school level, country level. So it shows that you've it helps aid in your application process. I'm not sure what the self-created opportunities is referred to, but adding your competitions and then your prestigious programs can also help as well in the admissions process.
Thank you so much. However, please keep in mind that you have limited space for all these activities. So when you complete your application, when you write all these extra activities and things like this, you should focus on the most important, I think, yeah, because like you can't list everything there. And this is quite obvious, of course. Also, we have a comment regarding the one of the questions that we discussed about check-in essays. So the question I asked was because I have met a lot of students who will uh, exaggerate or lie about the extra activities. So that's why I was interested whether there is a way to provide fair admission process.
Hmm. Well, lying on your application through an essay is not good regardless. So if they're lying about their extracurricular activities, they're only hurting themselves. If they are, if an institution accepts them based on their essay, and it is a lie, that's something that they're going to have to face later on if it is brought up. So lying on an essay or exaggerating. It's good to be detailed, but I think admissions officers are very well versed in reading essays and can distinguish when things are exaggerated. Just because they view them so many, they get a lot of applications and essays, so I think they can distinguish when something is not exactly what the student is saying. So
Yeah, it's better to tell the truth. I think. Thank you so much. One more question about the application process as well. Should I include a passion project in my application if it showcases my skills but didn't have a significant real world impact? That's a good question, I think.
If you had a passion project, I think this would be a really great opportunity for you to express your passion project in your essay. So that would be a great topic for you to talk about because it showcases your skills and it shows who you are as a person, as an individual. So that I think that would be a really great opportunity for you to talk about it in your essay.
Yeah, that's great. What if I can't afford passing any test like IELTS?
Um, you can also talk with IELTS to see if they have any why did I get afford passing any like fee waivers. So for the test, you can see if they offer any fee waivers for the test. Sometimes they work with students on fee waivers, so you can do that. You can also see if the SAT or ACT is a better fit in price point because again, the SAT or ACT can also satisfy English proficiency as well.
Yeah, so I think it depends on the requirements that you will see at the website of the university. However, there are also some might be local programs that will help you with the financing your education. For example, like paying for your IELTS test or something else. So you can also reach out to the advisor, Education USA advisor, if you have some general questions about this test or like other ways how you can support your financial process of the application. Thank you so much. So we have a couple of more questions about the test I see. So what is the strong SAT score?
So each institution is gonna distinguish what they want to see on an SAT. But typically for Kennesaw specifically, we do not look at your overall score. We only look at two sections. So those sections are math and reading. So a score would be anything over a 500 in the reading section, and anything over 490 for the math would be considered a very strong applicant for SAT scores.
That's great. Okay, and one more question about GPA. What website to use to accurately calculate your international GPA? However, I think you can check Google and find different options how you can do it. But maybe you have any kind of suggestions.
So yes, Google would be help. You can find any international calculate your GPA, but if you want an accurate international GPA, an evaluation company, those they know how to correctly convert that. I think if you Google it, different GPA calculations are going to come up, and they're all going to tell you different things. So having it evaluated is going to be the best and accurate way for you to get an international GPA to the U.S. equivalency.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much. So the next question is about could you give some tips for explaining my extracurricular activities in the application and what should I include? And one more question that's related to this one about essay writing. I would like just to quickly add a note here that we are not talking about essay writing today. We're not going to like provide many details about essay writing. However, we will have other sessions with detailed explanation how to write essays and your personal statement and so on. But maybe you just like from your personal experience, would you like to add like some comments about this question?
So for extracurricular, like you mentioned, picking, you can't obviously put all of your extracurriculars on your application. So picking the ones that you really want to highlight. So if there's a couple of extracurriculars that you've done that you've excelled in specifically, so like if you're in a leadership position for one of them, highlighting that you're the president of this organization or you did this for your organization. Those are the things that we want to see. So you can be a member of any extracurricular activities, but we want to institutions want to see if you have done any leadership positions in them. So distinguishing which ones you want to highlight the most on your application.
Yeah, that's great. So again, like a couple of questions we have in the chat about SAT. So dear students, we just covered these questions. So please make sure that you will watch the recording if you missed the rest of the session, because we just talked about all these questions. And today we're talking about how to build a winning undergraduate application. So we try to focus on those details that you need to write in your application form, how to cover extracurricular activities, and like how to make sure that your application is outstanding. Let's say like this. I think we will be able to cover a couple of more questions for today's sessions. And I would like to ask you a question. Could you describe a recent application that stood out and what made it special? Maybe you remember some kind of things that stood out really in your experience.
So for Kennesaw, our admissions process is a little different compared to most institutions in that we don't look at essays or personal statements. So we really rely on the students' GPA and academics and their SAT scores. So a recent application I noticed was a student, she took equivalent to like an AP schooling, but her GPA was near perfect. It was about like a 3.9, very high achieving SAT, ACT test scores. So she had over, I would say like 800 in evidence-based reading and writing for the SAT and 700 for math. So just very smart, academically driven. So I knew she'd be a good fit for our tuition waiver because she had really great test scores and academics. And then I also told the student that she would be a great fit for our honors college, which is for students who are high achieving. They get a lot of great benefits being in the honors college. So we look at academics quite heavily. So we want to make sure that these students that are coming in are academically driven. So those are the things that I've noticed is if the student is high achieving, their academics are it speaks for themselves.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much. So, of course, it's your motivation that always is the best idea when you apply to the S university, of course, and your high scores as well. Okay, so I think we are done with our question parts. I see many questions in the chat about financial aid. So, dear students, make sure that we will cover these questions during the next webinar. So we're not focusing on the financial questions today. However, if you have any questions like this about like some specific country related questions, you can always reach out to your advisor, Education USA advisor, and we will be able to help you with some kind of questions. For now, I would like to say thank you everyone for joining us today. Thank you, Kaycee, for your time and for this wonderful presentation and for being able to stay and answer students' questions. Maybe the last like suggestion, recommendation to our students.
Um, Recommendations to your students is apply early. If the application is open now, it doesn't hurt to apply because you never know. Um, give yourself time to have all of your documents submitted. A lot of things that I see international students specifically is it takes time for you to get those documents to us. So, and then again with the visa process, you want to have time even after acceptance to make sure that you're following the visa process correctly. So always give yourself time. If you think the deadline is far away, I guarantee you it comes up very quickly. So making sure that you have your documents in order, giving yourself time to get it evaluated, giving yourself time to take tests, to write a good essay as well. You want to give yourself time to really thoughtfully think about your application process. So those are my final words, is to make sure that you give yourself time.
Thank you so much, Kaycee. It was really inspiring. Thanks everyone for joining us today. If you want to follow our next events, please scan the QR code and register. We have already planned some new sessions for you for May, so you are able to register for May webinars. And thank you, Kaycee, once again for your time and for this wonderful presentation. Thanks everyone, and see you during the next webinar.
Thank you so
Goodbye.
much. Bye.